Salutations everyone, welcome to What Mattered, new locale this week. Sorry about that if the lighting or the acoustics aren't so great, but never mind that, this is What Mattered this week. Blizzard's MMORPG Titan, after 7 years of development, has officially been canned. It was never officially announced. It was just one of those big company-wide open secrets that everyone knew about. They've been working on it for 7 years. You might remember last year when they said they were just going to scrap everything and start from scratch and redo pretty much everything. Well, apparently that wasn't enough. They said that they didn't have fun making the game. The enthusiasm wasn't there, and people just said that the game just wasn't fun in the way that they had it. It was a big, expansive, rather dubious project that they were, trying to handle in the scope of things that you can do, and they just said it just wasn't working out. So Blizzard, always a company of quality, decided that, even after 7 years, if the game's just not good enough, they aren't going to put it out in production. So, sad to see it go. A lot of people were looking forward to it. They said that MMOs aren't something that they want to focus on right now. It's not like they're never going to do it again in the future. But, it's a bit of a setback, especially for big Blizzard fans who have been looking forward to a brand new MMO for a long time. Microsoft's Games for Gold lineup has been revealed a little earlier than usual, and as a first, PlayStation Plus free games haven't been announced and won't be until the 1st, because they won't be available to download until the 8th. So I don't get that PlayStation Plus news for you, unfortunately. But Microsoft has announced for free games for gold on the 360 will be as follows: Battlefield Bad Company 2 and Darksiders 2. Xbox One is going to be getting the brand new indie game Chariot, which will be free on its debut release. So there's that going for you. Kind of a weak week, but we'll see what PlayStation has in store for us on the 1st, which I will report on next week for you guys. Fox's Gotham television show premiered this week, the first of many superhero-esque television shows debuting this year. This one being the first, of course, centered around the character of James Gordon, played by Ben McKenzie. And I saw it. I thought it was pretty good. There was a little bit too many winking to the audiences with references and showing us of future villains. A little bit heavy on the dog ear department. Overall, I thought it was pretty good. It was a little bland. James Gordon so far doesn't seem very dimensional. I liked what they did with Harvey Bullock and what they did with Fish and with Alfred. Interesting thing that they did with Cobblepot there. But, of course, it's just the first episode, so we'll have to see. This will be a developing thing. Overall, it's not too bad. It definitely could have been worse. They're definitely they tried to throw a lot in the first episode just to get the realism that this is a Batman show with here's all these Batman characters that we're going to introduce and really only talk about a couple of them. But it could definitely get better. They've introduced a lot of characters. A lot of them kept true to their DC origins. Of course, this has worked a lot of times in the past with popular comic book characters turned television shows. But overall, it's passable. It's okay after the first episode, but we'll just have to see where it leads. It could get really terrible really fast, or it could get progressively better as the season goes on. In other TV news, the first trailer for Book 4 of The Legend of Korra here was dropped just a week before it debuts, and it was, I could sum it up in 3 very eloquent words: Ermagerd. It was awesome. It takes place 3 years after Book 3, which is incredible, not something that's been done within seasons of the same story arc in the Avatar universe. But really, really cool. It was just a mind-blowing trailer, as we would expect from Team Avatar. It's just absolutely astounding, the things that we're going to be seeing in this season. Very, very telling, this trailer, of what's going to be happening in this season. So I wouldn't say that like there's spoilers unless you want to know completely nothing, which is fine. There is something that's dropped at the very end of the trailer, which was hinted at a little bit in Book 3 if you paid attention. And as far as antagonists go for book 4, it seems like everyone's thoughts were correct in a certain character from book 3 that was given a special attention in the last couple episodes. And it's kind of a giveaway when a minor character is voiced by a big star, this being Zelda Williams, of course. And it's just really cool, really psyched for this, just a week away. And sadly, this is going to be the end of Korra, probably the end of the Avatar universe as we know it, but we still can get excited about the final installment. Casting news for Season 2 of True Detective has hit the waves with Colin Farrell confirmed, and after rumors, it was confirmed that Vince Vaughn is joining the show and will be playing the villain. It's supposedly about 3 police officers going after one career criminal, being Vince Vaughn. So there's still 2 other spots left up. There's been a lot of speculation, a lot of female names thrown out there. So it'll be interesting, especially since the first season was so spectacular that everyone loved, including myself, and them going through, you know, the not so prototypical way of going about seasons, in that it's going to be a new story every season with new characters. And there's a whole drama with the director. He isn't coming back, and now they have like the Fast and the Furious guy directing the first 2 episodes, but there isn't any news outside of that. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on, since the first season was so good. Even though it's just new people all together, I'm sure it's going to be at least decent. Interesting casting choice with Vince Vaughn, since he is a terrible actor outside of Dodgeball, but no dramatic experience whatsoever, so he could really surprise us, or the whole thing could just be a big stinker. But we'll have to see, and there's still 2 more characters to be casted. In other television / movie news, Key and Peele are in talks with Paramount Pictures to create a substitute teacher movie based off of the incredibly popular and amazingly funny skit on the Key and Peele show, Substitute Teacher and Substitute Teacher Part 2. And really fantastic. Obviously, it's not a lot to work with. They are in talks right now, so nothing final. There are 2 of the Key and Peele writers writing the film, if it's going to happen. They're not working on it right now, but it's getting undergoing. Key and Peele, of course, as you might also know, working on a Police Academy reboot, and Peele also wants to direct thriller movies, so a lot on their plate. Substitute Teacher, easily their best skit. I know it's really dicey when you try to take something like a skit, as we've seen through other shows such as SNL, and turn them into feature-length films. Almost never works out. If there is a team that can pull it off, it would be Key and Peele and their writer friends. So if they can pull this off, that would be fantastic, because it was such a great skit. And Key and Peele, let's face it, everything they touch is gold. They're really good. They're kind of like on their own level in the amount of quality stuff that they've produced, and in such a short amount of time. So, you know, if it happens, that would be good. And if it doesn't happen, you know, that's alright as well, because there's a lot of things that could go wrong, as we've seen with this formula in the past. In further movie news, Boxtrolls came out this weekend. I did see it, and I would like to give you guys a little quick review. It's from the same company who did, you know, Coraline and Paranorman, you know, stop motion claymation, really cool, really rare stuff that we see. And I thought it was decent. It wasn't their best, wasn't as good as Paranorman. Obviously, these movies are very different. I would say maybe a little better than Coraline. There's a whole lot of plot holes, but I think it was an enjoyable film. Really good animation, quite funny, even for a kid's film. And, you know, there's really nothing out in the next week or so. So I would definitely say give it a go, unless you're a Denzel Washington fan of him playing the same character in the last 20 movies. Let's face it, he just doesn't make good films. Highly overrated. We have a little bit more information about Christopher Nolan's upcoming Interstellar movie. It's going to have quite the runtime, which is nothing new to Christopher Nolan films, but this one is going to be his personal best, clocking in at 169 minutes. That is 4 minutes longer than The Dark Knight. And I'm psyched. Christopher Nolan has only done great films. Just take a look at his track record. I know a lot of people don't like movies that are long, especially in the past few years. People say that even the best movies that are too long, and people just don't seem to understand how narrative works, how direction works, how getting your vision onto the big screen works. Longer movies are tentatively better than your shorter films because, you know, directors such as Christopher Nolan, who has so much control over his project, is able to get his vision out there, and it's only worked. It's only worked for him. It works for James Cameron or Spielberg or anyone else who has a lot of control, can make the movie as long as they need to tell their story, especially with Matthew McConaughey as the starring role. I'm super pumped. There's a lot of different ways that this film can go. Because they've only released a couple of trailers and it's pumping up for anticipation, but not a whole lot of stuff revealed yet. So I'm looking forward to it. I like long movies because they are almost always done correctly. If you don't like things that are long, then your opinion really shouldn't be weighted very heavily, because you have a short attention span and not worth our time. Anyways, that is what mattered, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. All the links to the stories will be in the description below. And if you would like to see a video that I made this week, the making of Call of Duty Ghost, pretty cool if I do say so myself, so go ahead and check that out. Otherwise, I will see you guys next week.